All right, everyone, get ready for the biggest replay of Seven Wonders Duel in your life. Here we have Seven Wonders Duel player Tony97 versus Frankenstain. Tony97 being the #1 player with 842 elo, and Frankenstein very close at 838 elo. I decided to play a 12-game series, and here I am to commentate on how those matches went. All right, so let's get to it. So the very first turns, we're gonna slow roll it through the wonder selection. I'm thinking Knossos taken first, yep, and then it makes sense for Tony97 to end up with Mausoleum. We're going to have Frankenstein on the bottom every time and Tony97 on the top for all of these games. So Frankenstein choosing Sanctuary, I believe. Oh, wait, we got to see where that Knossos pawn gets put. Okay, so right there, getting some benefits from science. Okay, so interesting choice there. Didn't want to pick any of them that were already revealed. All right, so continue on. Sphinx, and then saying, oh no, Mausoleum. Interesting. Okay, giving up an extra turn. I would have so thought that Mausoleum is lower than Sanctuary, so that's already interesting. Playing a guess that move, I would have been wrong there. All right. So now, Frankenstein going to choose Temple of Artemis, I believe, is the right move there, and then Tony97 taking Piraeus, and Circus Maximus and Great Lighthouse being not the best option generally. All right, so we have the first move, Tony97 taking a right side decree, or a right side senator. All right, and then I think they're just going to try to control the game politically from there. Okay, we've got, and they didn't want to gamble it. They just taking a decree token that's going to make their wonders a little cheaper to build. Okay. Interesting about that. Okay, next, Frankenstein not going to let the Senate to be completely controlled by their opponent. And they're going to choose a conspiracy. So they're going to look and see what are the top 2 cards of the deck right now. And they're going to, it doesn't show me what they picked, or what 2 options they had, but it looks like Turn of the Events was chosen. So this one, an interesting one, lets you discard 2 cards, one after the other, and could really open up something for you. Also lets you move a cube. A lot of these little conspiracies let you move cubes around. And then they're going to place the Mesopotamian divinity close to their opponent. I guess Mesopotamian divinities with Agora and Pantheon expansion together are not as powerful. I'm thinking they probably placed Nisaba close to their opponent. Tony97 taking Clay, preparation of a conspiracy using a science card. Okay, so making sure you're not going to use any science. Piraeus being built. All right, so we saw that the decree token taken from Tony97, and then an immediate grab. I use it for an extra turn. So I find that a lot with these. The level I'm at, you don't want to build your wonders in H1, but at these higher levels, they're building their wonders all the time in the beginning. Maybe they're just hoping that they don't end up losing Piraeus to a hidden conspiracy. Also, they're trying to go for maybe a quick political gain right here. That made sense to put that senator right there, and they get a really great decree token. I have a tier list of my own, and then Frankenstein has made a tier list himself on the forums, where it talks about how powerful each of the tokens are, and this is one of the top tier ones. Getting 2 coins doesn't seem like much, but it really is important, and getting that early is so good. So lucked out right there. And it just made sense to put one in another spot. If they're going to try to control the entire Senate, they're going to need to be placing just one in every single space and don't let their opponent get any. Right? Tony97 gets to choose where the gods go. Maybe choosing Ra to be put close to themselves, but I don't know. Okay. Frankenstain going to take those powerful yellow cards, but not going to reveal another senator to the opponent. Tony97 probably going to take that. Yeah, figured take the yellow card. That's what I would do. And then finally, Frankenstain has a gasp of air that they're able to control the Senate. Now, are they going to block or are they going to compete it with the other Senate token? The give coins for military cards taken. All right, they're going to block. Interesting there. I think that's a good move because there's not going to be very many military cards built in Age 1. And so, yeah, stop the science. There's not going to be really much of science or military, I don't think. Maybe it would have been good to go for a military because in Age 2 that is going to take effect. But it looks like neither person is going for any science at the moment. All right, so then Frankenstein constructing the logging camp that costs 1 coin. But they're saying, hey, I need to get wood. My opponent doesn't have wood. Maybe we'll see a use of a lighthouse early on. Who knows? All right, Tony97 getting 3 points. We really want 2 blue cards. They've got their first. Getting that combo of 2 blues will be really important. Potentially a lot of white cards come out in Age 2, and they can try to take the Senate. Tony97 discarding and getting the bonus +2 coins because of that chamber down there. Every discard is so important. Putting a Roman mythology close to Frankenstein, likely that I'm thinking that's going to be a Minerva. I'll go over my guesses at the end, or at the end of Age 1. All right, so lots of discarding happening, especially from Tony97 getting the +2 coins. Frankenstein working on their economy. The only thing they're missing is glass at this point. Putting a mythology token of Greek close to Tony97. No glass in this age, unless I missed it. I don't think I did. So the 3 cards not included being, one of them at least being glass. Right, so they get to Tony97 gets to place another Senate cube. Maybe they try to. Okay, they're really trying to control that science. I wonder why that is. I would have expected trying to go for something new. But, alright, Frankenstein discarding the pharmacist. And maybe Frankenstein was just hoping not to give pharmacist, but Tony97 can now get 1 science. So there we have it. So generally in Pantheon, you both want to go science, but it seems like maybe 90% of the time. But it seems like in both expansions, you have one player going for science, the other player generally not going for science. But who knows? Maybe at this pro high level, we see a different way to play. All right. So what are they going to do? So their first thing is to do okay. So they're going to make sure that they have the first turn. That's an awesome use of that. So for myself to learn the Agora expansion, if I ever get these conspiracies, a lot of times I don't know what to do with them. This is a perfect use for it. They're going to discard 2 cards, a boom, boom, and then they're going to get whatever they want. I'm thinking they end up maybe discarding the last card because they need some coins. They've got 8 coins. That's my prediction. We'll see what ends up happening here. All right, so discard a Claypool, and they got 1 more to discard, or they can choose to skip. Is it useful to continue getting gold cards? It may be more beneficial to start the next stage with enough coins to take the Egyptian gods, so wood reserve doesn't make sense to take. And then the final one, I'm thinking they just discard it for coins. Okay, gonna move. Moving a token, and that looks like a really good place to move it as well, because they're going to want to block them at every chance, and they're not going to be able to block with just a movement for that Senate, uh, the green giving coins one. But this one right here, the one that helps the wonders to be cheaper, taking that away from 2097 makes sense rather than moving to the other middle section. Although the other middle section is worth points. I predicted a discard, but looks like it wasn't a discard. And I wasn't able to see. So Mars was placed. Okay, so Tony97 chose to put Mars close to, I would have guessed Minerva. I think I said that. And I guessed uh, not Ishtar. I guess Nisaba would have been a choice from Frankenstein to put close to their opponent. So very interesting how this is all playing out. And then, yeah, other guesses. Enki placed close to themselves. Tony97 placed Enki right there, maybe hoping for theology, and they've got it right now. I thought this one would have been Ra, so wrong on 3 gods. I didn't even make a guess for Enki. Yeah, so not going to be Ra. Maybe they thought that they didn't have a chance at getting that, and they're going to capitalize on having gray resources the rest of the game with Piraeus. And if by chance Gate ends up getting invoked and a wonder is stolen, at least it won't be Piraeus. Very interesting. Okay. So I'm thinking, yeah, you always choose to go first in Age 2. I'm guessing that Frankenstein is going to choose themselves to go first, but what do they pick? I think the best first move is to take Gate, try for Raw, take Gnosis. I'm thinking that's the move. But it may be that the move is to take Theology from their opponent. They only have 8 coins to do anything, so they've got to be careful. Alright. And the move is... getting a lot of coins, taking away a military card at the same time. Now they have enough coins to start doing some damage. They are going to allow the opponent to take Gate, I think, because now they can use Anubis, to re-get the Temple of Artemis. And of all the wonders, I feel like Temple of Artemis is my favorite to use Anubis on. That's just 12 coins and then 12 coins again. A 24 coin jump is huge. Plus 2 extra turns. I mean, that's just incredible. Yep, so taken Theology, like I thought, and now they're not in such a bad place as they were. They have more coins than they started with at that by the end of that move. They're going to have more extra turns than they started with, and potentially they end up taking Anubis next turn. So Tony97 really at a disadvantage here. They were at an advantage with 15 coins to 8. One of them is going to get 2 gods, the other one's only going to get 1 potentially. And now, thankfully, to Temple of Artemis, just getting turning the tables completely there. And that Anubis being out there is just very delicate. You probably want to just unbuild your Piraeus at this point, I would guess. I don't know what the right answer would be. Going for Gate, okay, there's a lot of options for Gate. You could get a lot of things, but it's top of the deck for each one, and they know what the top of the deck is for at least those 3. So, wonder what they end up picking. Do they pick one that they knew? Yeah, they pick Raw probably. Yeah. Yep, that makes sense to pick Raw, and then taking an extra turn away, taking Mausoleum away. I don't know at this pro level. Maybe Mausoleum's the right move, but then you only have one more extra turn. But you deny your opponent a very powerful extra turn. Mausoleum becomes incredibly powerful after Theology is taken. That could be the game-ending move. Taking Sphinx. Okay. All right. So Sphinx gets taken, and then now what's going to end up happening here? I think Frankenstein's move. Frankenstein's going to unbuild the Temple of Artemis right now. I think that only makes sense. Of course, yeah. I was thinking maybe they could wait on it, but no, they're just gonna go right into it. All right, a discard of or unuse of the walls, and now they can rebuild the Temple of Artemis, only costing them 3 coins. And now Tony97, Tony's gonna um, maybe continue on the political science route to victory. They've got 2 extra turns. Extra turns will come in handy in any strategy, but especially the science strategy. We'll see what ends up happening. Okay, they discard. They are risking that political win. So maybe they're going to go all in on points in science. They still have Knossos as a backup. Let's see what ends up happening. So Frankenstein probably going to pick that conspirator. No, they don't. They leave that conspirator be and just discard or play the double wood. So I don't see any great library out there. So maybe they're just hoping to make Monopoly. Ah, I like those Monopoly moves. At these high levels, I thought that Monopolies were going to be less used, but we already see it done in the very first game, um, taking away wood from their opponent. Um, there is still the Caravanissery. Interestingly, though, Piraeus has already been built. The only thing, as far as wonders they need, is Knossos, and a science strategy will need wood. Tony97 going to. My guess would be to take. I don't know, let's see. Can't wait around for me guessing all the time. Discard the stone. They don't want to have an issue with not having enough stone, and they need coins. And they still have that awesome chamber, so they're getting a ton of coins from that every single discard. They're hoping to get brewery potentially. Um, so Frankenstein taking a senator conspiracy. They can choose to conspire or place a cube. I guess both players have somewhat given up the attack on the Senate and just really attacking that right side of the Senate, leaving the left side completely blank. There's still one unrevealed Senate decree token. All right, now the conspiracy taken from Frankenstein, and this is important. Tony97 doesn't know this, but the conspiracy taken is treason. That's going to be really useful, especially triggering it in age 3. They're going to be able to see all of the 3 cards that were removed from each of the ages. Now it won't show us, but we could look through and see at the end of the game what they picked. So that's the end of their turn there. Then Tony going to take another science. So yep, we have one player going science. That's Tony this time. Tony going to go again and take another senator, I would imagine. I think that's the right move. Frankenstein just needed coins. They had to discard at that point. All right, so taking the one that gives coins for military. I mean, yeah, it makes sense. Like, no need to double down on your other one, and placing more cubes is good until you're down to a low amount of cubes. Right now, Tony at 7 cubes, they're doing all right. Um, Again, use of Temple of Artemis. I guess uh, Frankenstein feels like he needs the coins, and I'm thinking breweries are just a very useful thing, especially because you don't want to have your opponent having a coin advantage on you. That won't be the case now. Huge jump in coins. Frankenstein now at 97 coins, and they barely could afford that 3 coin that Temple of Artemis in the beginning. Right now, Tony97 likely going to take that conspirator at the bottom. Um, they are controlling 3 of 6 Senate locations, but maybe they don't want to reveal a military card for the opponent. Maybe they do, though. My guess is they take it and take the military hit and place it on that unrevealed area, potentially. Placing down another cube somewhere. No, maybe they actually take the right Senate chamber. And okay, no, they go for the left, even though this one's going to allow them 2 lefts, and they're going to have an extra turn advantage somewhat. Well, it's tied with extra turns, but they could push those 2 extra turns to maybe take this one and try to go for a full Senate victory. They're wanting to push in military a little bit because they're thinking this may be the only option they have to push in military. Interesting that they did that. Okay. And they're expecting a payoff with getting 2 coins for that Frankenstein take. We saw that coming. That was an obvious move. Now, Tony going to the tides have flipped, but it's in a good place right now. That military pawn being there means that Tony's going to have their first the first turn going into the next age, unless military is taken by Tony. Alrighty, now, think, yeah, Tony just discarding, getting 6 coins, really important. Frankenstain activating Divinity Mars for free using that offering token. Offering token is really nice to have. Frankenstein getting to place a military token. The small one got removed, so now they get to place their little cube somewhere, and finally taking out that right section that has been giving Tony97 so much as far as coins. Coins are now sitting at 11 versus 18. Hey, Tony getting some glass. I'm wondering, so Frankenstein ended up taking Papyrus. I'm wondering if Circus Maximus ends up getting used at this point to destroy the press before either of Frankenstein's wonders are used. Maybe a little too early for that at this point. Frankenstein going to, I'm guessing, take going for points maybe and take the statue. But no, they want to keep their logging camp from getting taken. But no, they don't want to lose the Senate. They're going to have to give up the monopoly they have in wood, I would guess, unless they're about to build the Great Lighthouse. I could see that happening. No, just going to take the that was my first thought that they were going to take the blue, because 2 blue is just a really good position to be in. You get to place 2 cubes every white senator you get whenever that happens. So at this point, I think Tony97 maybe continues on going for science, but ooh, that is just a really expensive science. And they could get the other one right afterwards. But, if Frankenstein uses an extra turn, that won't be the case. They have the coins for it. 5 coins isn't too bad. Maybe they just take the science. I think they take the science. They do take the science. Now, let's see. Frankenstain going to deny the other science. Makes sense to deny it. But what do you do to deny it? Do you discard it? There's no real way that they're going to be able to get it from the discard pile. I think. Okay, interesting. They're going to build something from the discard pile. What do they choose to build from the discard pile? A military? I think they are worried about losing it politically. So yeah, they build. That's very common. The mausoleum taking a 2 shield. If you're fighting somebody who has mausoleum, be careful discarding a 2 shield because they're going to use it against you. You really don't want them to get a 3 shield against you. That's just the worst. But yeah, very common use of mausoleum. And since they got theology, they get another turn. So maybe they take the military right here, and taking the military would allow them to push around in let's see if I can predict this. I think they take the military for 5 coins. They push one of these to the most powerful, maybe this chamber. They push close to the right section so that they get more coins every discard and get even closer to a military victory. That is my guess. Every time they take a military card, they're getting something. Oh, using treason to take cards from that have been discarded. So if they've been keeping track, they already know some of the cards that have been discarded. Is this going to end right now in a military victory? Let's see. Frankenstain chooses the barracks. Just a 1 is all they needed. And now they get to... Oh, they're going to destroy this one right here. Oh, I clicked on it, but it actually let me click on it because that was the move. Kind of interesting. So that pushes yet again in military, and then they're going to end the game with a military victory in Age 2. Incredible move. Incredible move right there. All right. Computer's bugging out because I clicked on it, so I won't be clicking on it anymore, but you can see they had... Tony97 had Raw, they had all of these extra turns, and then the use of Mausoleum plus that conspiracy treason ends up ending it for them. Awesome job. And we have an end to that game with Frankenstain winning in military. Wow, that was just incredible. And so the current elo of each player, yeah, I guess let's watch it play out, that military pawn moving for the last 2 steps. Constructing the parade ground, only needing 5 coins for that. They ended up having 5 coins at the end of the game, so they had enough coins to pull it off and more. Frankenstain winning the first game of this series. Crazy, crazy how that went. Alright, so we're going to stop this. I'm going to mess around with my computer, make it a little faster, but we're going to go into the next video.